Hey, what's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning into another episode of Creating Your Life with Will Jones, where I create videos to help you create the life you want. So today I just want to have a little quick chat, a little bit more intimate, unscripted, just talking. Last night I was watching a documentary by Kobe Bryant. I don't know if you can see the shirt, but I got on this shirt just in remembrance of Kobe. I wore a shirt today for this episode because I was watching the documentary last night, and Kobe's life was so inspiring. It just was a documentary from where he started as an adolescent to where his career ended, and up into his death. And a lot of times when we look back over his career, a lot of people kind of like the flashy dunks, the acrobatic shots that he did, the amazing points he scored, all the clutch moments that he had in the playoffs throughout his career. That stuff stands out, all the highlights. But what I liked about Kobe the most had nothing to do with the points he scored or the fancy dunks that he may have gotten, the clutch shots. What stood out to me was his journey, his journey from being a kid that had no confidence in himself, being a kid that actually went a whole summer league without scoring a point, to being one of the greatest basketball players to ever play the game. As I was watching the documentary, I found out that the Charlotte Hornets, when they drafted him, they let him go to the Lakers because they told him they had no value for him. They couldn't see any value, or couldn't see him being used to help the team. And at that time, they didn't know who Kobe was going to be, but Kobe already knew who he was going to be. Kobe already knew the work that he was going to put in. So when they told him that, it just fired him up even more, because he already believed he was great before he even manifested. I just want to talk about that. Belief is so important. And just looking at Kobe's whole entire career, if he didn't have belief, if he didn't have that genuine belief that he knew he was great, it's moments in his career that a lot of people would have crumbled and never been able to get back up from. I remember when he first got in the league, he wasn't getting a lot of playing time. And once he started to show himself, they started to trust him a little bit more. They started giving him some playing time in the playoffs. And I remember they was playing the Utah Jazz, and Kobe shot 2 air balls. And late in the game, when the game was on the line, he shot 2 air balls. What stood out to me was he wasn't scared to take the shot in the moment. There was veterans on that team that had been around longer, had more experience than Kobe, but they were scared to take those shots. They were scared to take that shot in the playoffs with the game on the line, with the clock running out. And Kobe wasn't. Yes, he shot 2 air balls, but after he shot the first air ball, he still had enough belief in himself that he could make it the second time. And he shot it again, and he shot another air ball. But guess what? As they was walking off the court, Shaq told him, keep your head up. And Kobe was like, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm gonna be okay. These air balls is just something that I had to go through. This doesn't define who I am. And in that interview, Kobe was talking about why he shot the air balls. And he said, his whole process is, whenever there's some type of failure in his life, it doesn't knock his belief in himself. What it does is he uses it as a tool to better himself. So he doesn't look at failure as something to put him down. He looks at failure as something that he can learn from to be better the next time that situation comes up in life. And we all should take that same approach. When things happen in your life, don't let those things become your identity. We all go through ups and downs. We all go through challenges, but it's about learning. Life is about learning through the process of life, through the journey that we go on to embark upon whatever we want to create for ourselves. Kobe said the reason that he shot those air balls is because his legs weren't strong enough. In college, he said he was used to playing somewhere between 30 and maybe 35 games in a season. But in the NBA, you play so many more games, and you play more games often. You're playing multiple games throughout the week. So throughout the year, his legs just wasn't strong enough to actually hold up under that type of workload. So what Kobe said was, he has to train different. He has to work out different. He has to make sure that when the playoffs comes that following year, his legs are strong enough so those shots do reach the rim. And that's what he did. And that all stems from belief. See, he could have let those air balls crush his confidence, crush his belief, and we may not have ever heard about Kobe Bryant that we know today if he wouldn't have had the belief in himself that he knew he was going to be great. Now, let's talk about why he had that belief in himself. Me personally, I believe it's easy to believe in yourself when you're doing the work. What do I mean by that? Kobe was working out 3 and 4 times more than all the other players on the team. You know, in that documentary, he talked about how he would get up in the morning and work out at like 4 something in the morning. Then he would work out with the team as a unit. Then he would work out again by himself. Then he would come back in the evening and work out with the team again as a unit. Over time, he talked about how many more hours of practice he gained by taking that approach. So it didn't happen overnight. He knew he wasn't going to get the experience overnight, but he knew with him not going to college, there was a learning curve that he had to go through. So in order to catch up to the players that were in the league already, in order to separate from the players that were coming into the league, guess what he did? He outworked everybody. So while most people was working out 2 times a day, maybe 2.5, 3 hours a day, getting somewhere between 5 and 6 hours of work, Kobe was doing 4 workouts, getting 2 to 3 hours each workout. So he's doing 4 3-hour workouts at a total of 12 hours every day, while everybody else was doing 2.5 to 3 hour workouts for a total of somewhere between 5 and 6. So think about it. Over the course of time, every single day, he said he never deviated. This was his lifestyle. He lived this, and it became who he was. So think about that. In the course of, let's just take it in a small frame, in the course of 1 month, if you work out every day and you're getting 5 hours a day like the average guys were, that's 150 hours for the entire month. But Kobe's working out 12 hours a day for those 30 days. So Kobe's getting, instead of getting the 150 hours, Kobe's getting somewhere. Let me do the math in my head real fast. So if it's 30 times, that's 30 times 12. I think that's 360 hours. So think about that. 360 hours to 150 hours. That's double. That's more than double in that first 30 days. Now imagine over his 20-year career. So the longer his career went on and he maintained that work regimen, for one, he caught the guys that was in the league before him because he was putting in more work for them. And then the guys that came after him or at the same time as him, he created such a gap by the work ethic that he had that it was no way that it could catch up with him. And it made sense because when you looked at his play, you looked at his career, by like year 3 or 4, Kobe he had arrived. He put the league on notice. We saw flashes. His rookie year, his second year, his third year, we saw flashes of the potential. But by the 4th year, 5th year, he was there. Kobe was bona fide. He was certified. He was ready. And that spoke to the philosophy he had about over time, continuing to put in the work, outwork everybody, he would reap the benefits over time. And see, over time, he would naturally, by default, become better than everybody because he was getting so much more practice in on a regular basis. So I looked at that and I was like, that's so inspiring because here's a young man, never played college basketball, coming straight out of high school, but he had the mindset of a champion already. Age is nothing but a number. Age is nothing but a number, ladies and gentlemen. I know older people that still have the mindset of an adolescent, and I know younger people that have the mindset of an older individual. It's all about the mindset. It's not about how old you are. It's about when does your mind develop and become the mindset that's needed to be successful. That's what true transformation is about in life. When is your mind mature? When does your mind grow up? When does your mind take that next step? Hey, if you're receiving value from today's content, do me a favor. Hit that like and subscribe button so you can be alerted whenever I upload new videos. Thank you so much in advance. So in Kobe Bryant's life, Kobe had already made up his mind what he wanted to do as an adolescent. He said, at the age of 12 or 13, he already knew he wanted to play basketball seriously. And that's why he didn't get into trouble. He didn't do drugs. He stayed on the straight and narrow. And then from 12 or 13, every decision he made from that point in his life was about basketball. If it wasn't going to benefit him in his basketball, or if it was going to deter him from his basketball, if it was going to hinder him from his basketball goal, then it was an easy decision. He wasn't doing it. His life became very simple at a young age because he knew what he wanted, he knew where he wanted to go, and he kept growing and he kept growing. And to answer the first question, why did he believe? Why did he have that type of belief in himself? It was because he made a commitment at a young age that this is what he wanted to do. This is how we get there. And we just got to stay locked in. And every decision he made in life was based upon whether or not it helped him get to his goal of being a basketball player in the NBA. See, we need to do that too, ladies and gentlemen. Now, not all of us are as lucky or as blessed to know what we want to do with our life at such a young age. But we need to always put ourselves in position to be thinking about that. You don't want to just go through life getting jobs to pay bills, getting jobs because they were hiring. No, you want to strategically make a game plan for your life. You want to strategically take yourself from point A to point Z. You don't want to just coast and drift through life and hope you end up at a destination that's okay. No, if that's how you're approaching it, you'll never arrive. You'll always sell yourself short, and you will always be the one that was spoke as the guy that could have been, the young lady that could have been, the individual that had all the potential in the world, but never quite got there. You got to first and foremost make a commitment with yourself, ladies and gentlemen, like Kobe did. This is what I want to do with my life. This is what I want my life to look like. This is where I want to go moving forward. And it doesn't matter where you are in your life at this current moment. You could be down and out on your luck. You could be at the top of the world. But if you're not doing what you love, if you're not doing what you want to do, then that happiness short lasts. That misery, if you're at the bottom of if you're going through a hardship, if you're going through a struggle, and that unhappiness you have because of that problem, it's not going to go away. You can't wish it away. You have to do something about it. You got to get locked in. I want to encourage you to take Kobe Bryant's philosophy. Find what you want to do, lock into that, and then take each day that you have life and get better at it. Make sure at the end of the day, when it's time to lay down, when it's time to rest, whatever that goal is, whatever that passion is in your heart, you should be in a position where you can lay down and feel good with how you utilize your time. If you can't lay down and feel good at the end of the day, then you didn't do enough. You didn't go hard enough. You didn't prioritize what was important. Maybe you didn't hold yourself accountable. You didn't challenge yourself. If you're not able to go to sleep and feel like I put in work for my life, then there's a problem. And that has to be addressed immediately. Because at the end of the day, it's up to you, ladies and gentlemen. Kobe Bryant is my guy. You know, just because he embodies what success is about. He wasn't given handouts. He earned everything that he ever got. His work ethic is second to none. You know, in his death, you know, a lot of these stories came out about how Kobe taught people how to work, how Kobe separated himself, how Kobe moved differently. I heard Allen Iverson telling a story about Kobe and how they was at an all-star event. That was his first time playing with Kobe Bryant, first time really getting to meet him and to hang out with him and talk to him. Iverson said Kobe took him out to eat at a nice restaurant. They, you know, got to engage. And he said after they finished eating, you know, Iverson said, well, look, we going to the club tonight. What you gonna do? And Kobe said, I'm going to the gym. And Iverson said that's why Kobe was better than him and everyone else in the league that played at his time, because he was different. He did what was needed, not what he wanted. He might have wanted to go to the club with those guys, but guess what? He didn't, because that decision didn't line up with the commitment he had made years ago about becoming the greatest basketball player to ever play the game of basketball. See, Kobe was disciplined in his lifestyle and his thoughts, because Kobe was able to become his own tyrant. He was able to hold himself accountable. Kobe had distractions. Kobe had negative influences. Kobe had people that was trying to encourage him to do the things that he knew he shouldn't be doing. But see, Kobe didn't succumb to them. Kobe's power, his desire, his willpower lies in his mindset to be the best and to not sacrifice his dream for a moment of gratification at the club. He learned how not to sacrifice the dream for short-term personal gratification. See, you get personal gratification when you do things like cheat days, when you're trying to eat right, or when you go to the club like Allen Iverson did instead of going in the gym. Kobe was willing to sacrifice what he wanted for what he needed on a regular basis. And when you do what's needed, in spite of how you feel about it, you'll reap rewards that very few will experience. So I used to be in this business years ago, and one of the sayings they always had was, if you do what others won't, you can have what others can't. And that's so true. You know, if you're willing to pay the price, if you're willing to work harder, if you're willing to outlast, if you're willing to sacrifice more than the next person, then by default, you're going to be rewarded on a higher level. Kobe did the work, so that's why Kobe got 5 championships. There's a lot of people that don't have 5 championships. There's a lot of people that don't have any championships. But Kobe deserved it because he earned it. Kobe did the work. Kobe stayed the course. Kobe ran his own race and stayed in his lane, focused on what his end goal was. He didn't let the distractions of life get him off path. Now, I'm not saying he was perfect. We're gonna all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. But when Kobe made mistakes, Kobe learned from them and he corrected them. Most of us don't learn the lesson immediately. And I know this to be true, and you probably know it to be true, because think about this. How many people that you know are still doing the same old thing year after year after year? They the same person 10 years later. Ain't nothing changed. They running the same old game, the same hustle, the same individual that's gotten older, maybe have some gray in their hair, but still got the mindset of the person they were 15, 20 years ago. That's a prime example right there. So guys, just in conclusion, you know, like I said, I just wanted to talk to you. Nothing formal, nothing scripted, just kind of coming up here and just kind of speaking with the heart, because the documentary that I watched with Kobe Bryant just touched my heart in such a way because it inspired me. And I want you guys to become inspired. You know, embrace the journey in your life. Embrace the process of becoming better. Embrace it. That's what Kobe did. And that's why we remember him, not just for the athlete he was, but for the work ethic. Kobe stands for true work ethic. He stands for what it means to be successful. He stands for what it means to go through the fire and come out stronger. We all should want to be the best version of ourselves each and every day. And if you're listening to my voice today, that means you are alive today, and that means you have another opportunity to right all of your wrongs, to cross the T's and dot the I's in your life, to go back and revisit the game plan, to rewrite the narrative of your life, to change the ending of the movie for you. I want to encourage you to embrace the journey and do the work. I believe in you. You got this. Now go be great. Peace. Holla at your boy.